I believe we are ready. Tika, if you'd like to start recording.
Recording.
It is recording, okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Winston-Salem Transit Authority Board of Directors meeting here on Thursday, October 28th. I hope this Zoom call finds you all well. We all seem to be acclimating quite well to this virtual world that we live in, and we're thankful that we do have at least the opportunity through Zoom to do that. So welcome everyone, and welcome all of those, not only fellow board members, but Winston staff and also staff from the city of Winston-Salem. Thank you very much. As always, I recite a statement in regards to virtual meetings. Pursuant to the policies and procedures adopted by City Council relative to virtual meetings, it has been determined that it is not feasible for the members of this committee to meet together physically due to the pandemic. All members are participating remotely. Vote by roll call vote. Each member will be recognized by roll call and then state their vote. So that is our authorized virtual meeting statement. And at this time, Tika, I believe, if you'd be so kind.
Greetings, everyone. Chairman Robert Garcia.
Here.
Vice Chairman Keith King.
Present.
Dr. Jack Fleer.
Present.
Mr. Willie Clark.
Present.
Ms. Latanya Wright.
Present.
Ms. Jeanette Lawson Jackson. Ms. Lynette Allendorf. Mr. Philip Osborne. So am I correct? I know that Ms. Allendorf is not going to be here. Philip Osborne, are you present? All right. Roll
I believe Ms. Jackson is present.
No, Ms. Allendorf.
Okay.
I see Ms. Jackson, although I couldn't hear her. I did see her though.
Okay. Thank you so very much as always for that. Well, that leads us, of course, always to my favorite part of the program, the safety message from Garcia. I always think about what can I say for a safety message. Today I got to thinking because I'm looking outside and looking at the weather and everything that's been happening in our world as far as staffing shortages everywhere, cost of goods going up, and I'm thinking, winter's upon us. I know because next week we start getting kind of cool. So if I had to give you a safety message, it'd be take a little precautionary measures right now while you can for yourself for the winter months ahead, because it looks like trying to call some of these professionals in the business, whether it's taking down a tree or working on your heater or your plumbing or whatever, might be a little tough from the last minute. So how's that for a safety message? Kind of a little from Heloise here. So, but it does. I mean, I think about it and you never know. Maybe it's that time to buy one of those generators. So our safety message. Public comment is always, it is open to the general public. There is a link that they can join us. Also a phone number. I'd like to open that up for public comment. I did not see anybody virtually. Correct me if I'm wrong.
We have no one.
We have not. Okay, nobody has called in. Okay. All right. With that said, we will go now directly to our action items. And I think we've got a couple of, if you hear background noise, it might be your own, mute if possible. So under action items, as always, our first action item of our meetings is the approval of the previous board meeting, which was on September the 30th. So you did get those in your packet. If you had time to review them, we're going to give you just a couple of minutes take a look at it. Ms. Woods, if we just kind of scroll through those and if anybody has seen be edited or that was incorrect.
When appropriate, I move their adoption. This is Jack Fleer.
Thank you, Dr. Flair. We have a motion to
I
approve,
second it.
and we have a second by Mr. King on the approval of the September 30th WSTA board minutes. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We will now turn it over to Tika for a roll call approval. First off, all those in favor by saying aye. Tika?
Chairman Garcia,
Aye.
Vice Chairman King,
Aye.
Dr. Fleer,
Aye.
Mr. Clark,
Aye.
Ms. Wright,
Aye.
Ms. Lawson Jackson.
Aye.
All have voted that are present.
All those opposed, same sign. The resolution approving the September 30th minutes, WSTA board minutes, has been approved. Thank you very much. We do have one resolution before us, as you received in your packet, that Ms. Woodson is pulling up. The resolution authorizing the contractual award for the trans vehicle advertisement, and this is with Street Level Media Limited Liability Company. Ms. Woodson, I will turn that over to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman Garcia. This evening before you is a resolution asking the board to approve a contractual award with for our advertising. As you know, as you often see, our vans as well as our buses have multiple different types of advertising ads on the outside of them. Currently, our provider is Street Level and has been so for several years, to my understanding. So what they do is the companies, whomever we select, the vendors, they actually advertise for multiple different various agencies that wish to get their information out there via the public transportation vehicles. It's a good way for them to advertise whatever services or products that they are providing. And for this specific RFP, or request for proposal, WSTA decided to go on board with the other agencies in the area to partner with them for a regional RFP for the advertisement for all of our vehicles. So that would open up that pool of advertisement and potentially generate more revenue for all of the agencies involved. So with that being said, this resolution is asking for the board to participate, to alert you that the WSTA participate in a regional RFP, or request for proposal, for the bus and bus facility advertising services in partnership with the 4 other transit agencies. And those agencies were PART Regional, Piedmont Regional Transportation, which is PART, GTA, High Point Transit, and Davidson County. So all of the agencies involved participated in an ongoing process that was actually organized by PART. So PART was the lead agency that took action on advertising the RFP for all the various outlets for the solicitation process. That included DBE participation as well. However, we did not receive any agencies that actually had DBE certification. So we wanted to make sure that you all, the board, was aware of that. So that part was, that requirement was fulfilled. However, we did not get any recipients that actually had the certification. This RFP was released on August the 2nd, and it had various, like I said, various outlays of media advertisement, direct notification, etc. There was a question and answer period that was given to the vendors as an opportunity to ask questions from each agency or an overall questions, and we detailed that information through the evaluation process. We received 3 submissions from qualified firms, all that were responsive and responsible to the described requirements for the evaluation and consideration received. So this request is for a actual 3-year term for the contract award with street level, and with the opportunity for 4 additional years of renewal. So at the end of the 3 years, we may come back and ask for an additional year, up to 4 years, if all the agencies are still satisfied with the return of investment from street level, because this is a revenue that would generate to WSTA and all the other agencies involved. And just some supporting documentation for the selected vendor. Gateway, Hawk Transit, and Street Level Media were the firms that actually participated and submitted the qualified bid proposals, and the overall scores are before you this afternoon. And as you can see, that Street Level was the success, and those are the different categories that they were graded on: project approach, how they approached the project and presented it to the evaluation committee, their experience and qualifications, their references, of course, the estimated proposals, price proposals, because what they do is they project how much revenue that they will be able to generate to each agency based on the ads that they solicit, advertisements throughout the cities that they put on the buses and the vans. And then they have us a cost share. So out of that cost share, then WSTA would receive a certain percentage of the estimated cost revenue they bring in. So that is kind of a brief overview of the evaluation process. So we, as staff, are coming to you this afternoon to ask if you would so approve our contract with Street Level Media.
Yeah, I will say, Ms. Woodson, it seems like it's been a great collaboration with them. I know for one, I've almost had auto accidents trying to read the bus intersections and trying to see all the people that participate. And we've got some really great partners out there. And I'm sure most of our board members have seen some of them. So yeah, really nice work there. Fellow board members, any questions, concerns, comments?
Ms. Woodson, this is Jack Fleer. Would you put that so I could see the last portion of it? I wanted to make certain that I understood. It says contract term of 3 years with 4 years of additional renewal option. Does it mean 4 years or a 4th year?
Up to 4 years of additional. So it's a 7-year period of term. So yes, sir, it's up to 4 years additional to the 3 years that we would award if it's approved today.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Flair. Any other further questions, comments?
This is Jeanette Lawson Jackson. I move that we approve the street, well, I lost the name there, Street Level Media.
Thank you, Ms. Lawson. We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I will second.
Thank you. Now, Tika, if you'd be so kind, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Chairman Garcia,
Aye.
Vice Chairman King,
Aye.
Dr. Fleer,
Aye.
Mr. Clark,
Aye.
Ms. Wright,
Aye.
Mrs. Lawson Jackson.
Aye.
All that are present has voted, Chairman.
Thank you very much. That looks like a full consensus vote. Thank you very much. The resolution authorizing the contractual award for the transit vehicle advertisement from street level media has been approved. Thank you very, very much.
Thank
Now we're
you.
going to go, that concludes our action items. We're going to go into our informational items. The first being the 401k audit.
Yes, sir. Chairman Garcia and the members of the board. This was just an informational item that was on the agenda just to make you aware. On an annual basis, WSTA participates and has an audit of our 401k plan overview. And we just concluded that Robin Kirby, which is our finance manager, she manages that process and does so well. And we, as a result of managing the 401k benefit, we have successfully received notification that it was accepted, it was approved, and everything has been signed off on. That happened actually in my absence, but Mr. Ashford signed off on the audit report. So once we receive the final report, we'll make that available, but I did want to alert the board that that was a success. And basically they just come in, they do an overview audit, a selection of employees that actually are participants of the plan, and just to make sure that they have been engaged by the employer, making sure they're aware of all of their benefits and everything is any elections that they've made, whether it be loans or contributions that they've gone through smoothly, and they look at how they gauge and question how we communicate and advertise participation in the plan. So with everything that they asked for in the audit, we successfully passed it overall, and hats off to, like I said, Robin Kirby for that. I just want to make the board aware of that.
And Ms. Woodson, just curious, who is that set up through?
Principal. It used to be Wells Fargo, but there was a
Okay.
merger a year ago, and we went to Principal. I believe I notified the board of that prior to the actual merger, but that took place earlier this year.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Fellow board members, any questions? Okay. If not, we'll move to, well, I said my favorite thing. Carol's report is always great. We can turn it over to Carol for the monthly operational data presentation.
Yes.
Mr. Garcia.
If everyone would mute your phones unless you're actually presenting or answering, please. Mute your computer, actually.
The main page of the presentation?
I'm sorry.
Are you seeing the main page of the presentation?
No.
Tika or Ms. Woodson, you might be able to from your, to mute everyone.
Can you see it now? Have you
No,
stopped sharing your screen down? No. Okay, how about now?
Yes.
Okay.
yes,
Well, good afternoon, everybody. We got some new data this month. In our presentation, I finally got the opportunity to look at the regional data, and it was very interesting, all the different things I learned about what our sister agencies are doing. They're certainly not doing it all the same, that is for sure. After I got all the data, I had to find a way to compile it to make sense that would be, concise. So this is what I came up with.
Okay. Carol, if I may, and Ms. Woodson, it was ever under WSTV 13. There's where the background noise is coming from. Chica, who would that be? So there we go.
I just did, yes,
Okay.
I had to mute it, okay.
Okay.
I think he may have left it
Yeah.
going and walked away, so my apologies, Mr. Bill. Okay, and go ahead, Carol.
Okay. All right, so I had to have these categories to kind of put everything into a concise format. So what we decided on was reduced hours run, like we're doing, where we're stopping at 8 o'clock. Reduced frequency, which is the number of times, like if they change from 30-minute service to hour service, the frequency that they're coming, and then suspended routes, and then also fare free. So what I found out was we have a number of agencies out there that are running normal service, which kind of surprised me. Columbia, Greensboro, Charleston, Roanoke, and you could probably throw Fayetteville in there for the most part, except for fare free. They have no reductions whatsoever. They've gone back to full service. And then you have really the Triangle region, which is doing everything. They have reduced runs, frequency, suspended routes from Chapel Hill, Durham, Research Triangle, and for the most part, Raleigh. And they're all running fare free. And then you have the other side of the spectrum, which is Charlotte. Interestingly enough, Charlotte is still running Saturday service, which is what they started doing when the pandemic started. Now, recently they started to add back a little service, but for the most part, they're still running Saturday service, which I thought was interesting. So it's all over the spectrum, the different things that agencies are doing. So what does that look like in fixed route ridership? Well, obviously Charlotte got hit the most with, hold on, I'm trying to get my highlighter to work here. Well, I guess that'll work. They had 1.2 million riders and they dropped all the way down to, over half, down to, 500,000 or so, and really haven't changed. I mean, they're still at that same level. Chapel Hill, which is this orange line, dropped like a rock. It looks like all the way down to 0, but it's really about 600 riders. I think they were down to at one point. And if you follow them, they've actually, now that school started, they're shooting back up again. Nowhere near where they were, but I'm sure they're very happy to see that increase. Oh, and let me just say, as far as you can see, this only runs through August. I had a hard time getting data from everyone, so I just picked the month that I had the most consistency in. So I don't have September yet. Hopefully I'll have that next month. But anyways, going back to this, Durham and Raleigh kind of followed the same path. And then there's a clump down here of the rest of us who, around a 200,000 ridership that went down, and then are just kind of all clumped together down here, under 200,000 still. So very interesting to see how each service has been impacted. And now looking at it a different way, as the percentage that each service has lost. You can see Charlotte obviously had the biggest loss at 56%, followed by Columbia, us. Unfortunately, we're on the wrong side of that category. And you move all the way up to Research Triangle, and they only lost 5%, roughly 5-6%, which was interesting. The other interesting thing about this was when I first looked at this, I looked at through July. And because school hadn't started back, Chapel Hill would have been the one that lost the most. So depending on what month you finalize it at, it makes a huge difference. But we've all lost fixed route service and are gaining it back to varying degrees, and that's clearly dependent on what kind of service you currently have running. So let's switch over and look at Paratransit. Now everyone is following pretty much the same pattern, except for Raleigh. And Raleigh's paratransit service is on steroids, it looks like, because they took a hit and then they've just taken off and gained like 10,000 riders. And I think they have some micro transit going on that they may be reporting under this venue. So yeah, I was kind of like, what is going on in Raleigh? The rest of us, you know, it's interesting. Greensboro has the second highest, or did, followed by Charlotte, and then us and Durham and on down. And we're kind of all just kind of leveled off here for the last, you know, 6 to 8 months, having the same, you know, ridership, and Raleigh's just taken off. So that was, well, I have one more slide here. The comparison percent changed for paratransit, and obviously Raleigh increased, and also Roanoke increased a little bit. You couldn't see it in all the lines there at the bottom, but they also increased a little bit. The rest of us have lost ridership to varying degrees, but on this one, we're actually, you know, on the good side of the chart, having lost only about 26% as of, I think this is through August. But Columbia's lost the most, followed by Chapel Hill, Durham, and on down. So interesting results. So moving on to our regular presentation, looking at our fixed route ridership. You know, it's just kind of the same as it's been, around 120,000. Went down a little bit last month. We had less days because we had a holiday in there. So we only had 30 days as opposed to 31. But we are seeing our passenger per revenue hour go up since our revenue hours have decreased. With our service reduction, we had the same amount of passengers roughly. So our revenue, passenger per revenue hour is increasing. And I will add, I meant to mention this on the last slide. As of now, we're not seeing a big impact from our service reduction. It's kind of early to tell. We're only about 4 weeks, 6 weeks into it. So I'll keep an eye on it. But as of right now, it's not looking like it has a huge impact. Our wheelchair passengers took a dip last month, but you know, we're hanging up there around 500, you know, 400, 500 fixed route wheelchair passengers. Bike passengers have been going down, I guess, as weather has been getting worse. I don't know, but I know during the winter months it definitely goes down. On-time performance, we're hanging out in the low 80s. We're working on some things, hopefully, to get that up. Moving over to TransAid, again, just steady, moving along at 13,000, 14,000 a month. Same thing with the trips per hour, 2.6. Wheelchair passengers on TransAid are holding steady. See a little bit of a dip last month, but not much. TransAid on-time performance has been declining, as you know, we have this driver shortage, and it's really been impacting the ability to, you know, get all those trips done in a timely manner. They are getting done, just not in the time we'd like to get them done. Moving over to accidents. We had 6 accidents last month. Most of them were non-preventable. We only had 1 preventable, which was good. And the majority of them were fixed route. We had 4 non-preventables and 1 preventable. And in TransAid, only had 1 accident last month. They're having a really good, you know, past rolling 13 months here on accidents. And of course, maintenance, only 1 preventable the last year. Maintenance roll call. We had 23 last month, which was down a little bit, and TransAid did really well with only 2. So that was good. But overall, we have seen the trend of them coming down, which is a good trend. Moving over to our phone data. Phone calls took a little dip last month in September. Actually, it's one of the lowest months we've seen so far, so hopefully that won't continue. But our on-time performance is looking great. I mean, we're about as close as to 100% as you can get. And of course, our abandoned calls are low and continue to stay low, which is good news also. And that's it. Any questions?
This is Jack Blair. I want to thank you for the comparative data. I think that's super. I wonder if that's going to be able to be continued.
Yeah, I will continue it. I'll update it as much as I can every month, and also touch base and see if there's any changes ongoing with these agencies as far as, you know, are they bringing back more service or whatnot.
Well, I find it very useful, and I hope others do also.
Couldn't agree with you more, Dr. Flair. Seeing what our fellow transit people are doing in the state, that's interesting. It's interesting to see that what'd you say, the Triad or the Research Parkway, they haven't changed anything, huh?
Well, the research, let's go back there. All the way back to the beginning. The Research Triangle region is actually had a lot of impact. They have made I guess a regional choice to reduce service. Chapel Hill, Durham, Research Triangle, and Raleigh all have a lot of reduced service. And Charlotte also clearly has the most reduced service. So just very, very wide scale of changes. Any other questions?
Carol, as always, thank you so very much. We really do like the reports.
You're welcome.
Very informational. All right, Ms. Woodson, I think we're going to move on to staff reports. So we got the incident report from North State, which is the security company of ours.
Yes. And also, Mr. Garcia, if you want to, you know, we had talked on the phone earlier about discussing the meeting that is scheduled for Thanksgiving for November.
Okay. Well, why don't we can talk about those right now, real quick, so they don't slip past us. But fellow board members, Ms. Woodson and I were discussing November and December's meetings. Our meeting in November, if we go according to when it's supposed to happen, falls literally on Thanksgiving Day. So needless to say, we will not be having that meeting on that legal holiday. But it was discussed amongst Ms. Woodson and myself, and it's also open for discussion amongst yourselves. Should there be a need for the meeting, should a need for a vote on a resolution come up, would you be open to having a separate date? Now, of course, we also have to check with our staff and also with the city staff to make sure that we align all of our calendars. Questions or comments about that? And also in December, the same thing. There have been times when we have, for the lack of agenda items, have postponed it until January. So we certainly would welcome any feedback, either now or later. You can send Ms. Woodson or myself and both of us your ideas. Thoughts, ideas?
I'm open to a separate meeting if it needs to be and can be found on a suitable date.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Flair. Okay.
Mr. Garcia, what I will do is I received the city's calendar for all of the scheduled meetings within the city, and to see the availability. If we find that we need to have a meeting for a resolution approval or anything we need to bring to the board's awareness, I can at that time entertain the dates that are open and the times that are available. And then we could, once you all agree on a date, then we can, move forward at that time and I can get that on the calendar. But it'll be based off of the availability of the city's staff that's involved.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
Thank you.
And also too, fellow board members, and we can talk about this in a separate email, but Ms. Woodson and I did discuss also that unfortunately we might have to cancel our Christmas get together again. We will let you know. We certainly want to respect everyone, that because we're still in the midst of this pandemic, and even though restaurants, et cetera, have opened up, we still want to be leery of that, not leery, but cautious and respectful of that, but we will keep you posted. Okay. Now we can go to the incident report, which is before you from North State Security Group. Yes.
And this is just a monthly report of all of the incidents that take place that require either a ban or arrests that's made within the transportation center by our North State Security Group. And for the month of September, there were a total of 14 incidents that resulted in such. So just giving you on a monthly basis, an overview of what takes place at our transportation center. I will state as well, with North State Security Group, they are also experiencing shortages in their staffing. So it's not unique to transit. Public transit, they have challenges in that area of staffing officers, company police officers to manage incidents and to maintain the security at the transportation center. But they're aggressively working on trying to staff or fully staff the officers there. But for the month of September, we only have 14 incidents. I'll entertain any questions or concerns on that.
Anything that was, I mean, they're pretty common violations or incidents, I should say. Anything that got out of hand or that posed a more security risk than another?
No, this in September we did not. We have had some severe issues or incidents, but for the month of September, it was just general disturbances and disorderly activities going on. A couple, of course, as you can see, people that do not want to wear their mask, and they're given a warning, asked to put the mask on. If they don't, then they're asked to leave the property. If they refuse to leave the property, then we have to call Winston-Salem Police Department at this time, because as I stated, we don't have an officer on duty right now due to staffing issues that has arresting powers. So though that makes it a little bit challenging for staff, Winston staff, as well as for North State security officers, because the passengers are aware of the officers that have arresting powers and those that don't. So that kind of increases the activity up there, unfortunately.
Is that 90-minute WSTA rule / trespass? That's just
Loitering. So
self in the building for longer than an hour and a half.
Yes, and that's because that's the time that you are there to either handle your transit business or ride the bus. So for that hour and a half time frame, that's what's in our policy for just hanging around. And that's to kind of eliminate people just using the transportation center as a hangout or anything other than what it's purpose for.
And the slip and fall, there were injury, any repercussions from that?
No.
Fellow board members, any questions?
Okay.
No further questions. Thank you for that report. Now I believe we have our fixed route reports and our transit operational reports.
Yes, and these are the general monthly reports of our same data that Carol actually presents. So that's why we just kind of just give you an open opportunity for any questions, because she presents this in her monthly presentation as well. So if there's any questions, I'll entertain those outside of the marketing report that was not on the agenda, but we do have that attached that Tina will go over once we find out if you have any questions or concerns on the reports.
Ms. Woods, if you could turn back to that, to the no-show.
Yes, sir.
Was that the, okay. That total no-shows, that's our year to, or is that just September?
That is September only.
September.
Is that so 141 no-shows in September?
Well, more than that, it's closer to 750. Because you.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm reading the
trips,
the
then,
16 over trips.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just to give a brief explanation of a no-show and how it impacts our services, that also contributes to our on-time performance in Transaid, because a no-show is actually a trip made. So the driver actually performs that trip, and the rider, for whatever reason, sometimes it's, you know, just depends on the reason it is, but regardless of whether it's valid or not, it impacts services, because that's a waste, basically a trip that was not performed. There was no passenger that was picked up. So that van could have been purposed and, you know, sent somewhere else to pick up someone else. So that does heavily impact our service and our performance. We do have parameters in place for people that abuse the no-show policy. And then, you know, so it's we have a policy that helps with that, but it doesn't eliminate the abuse of it.
And Ms. Woodson and Carol, what would you consider, and I know and forgive me, I know we've covered this a lot, but at $22 to $24 a trip, Transaid, serious little problem there. What is the industry standard, or what would you consider a threshold would be reasonable or within guidelines?
I don't know if there's an actual percentage, you know, that you shoot for, but I can say, believe it or not, our no-shows have gone down significantly. I mean, we're lower than pre-COVID time right now, which is amazing.
Okay.
So I think the people who are taking trips need to take trips. I mean, you're always going to have people that stuff comes up and they have to cancel, or, you know, whatever, but they're pretty low right now. I mean, there are days like just today, I think we are at 12% cancellation rate today, which is really low, believe it or not. I mean, I mean, for me, I guess if it gets above 20, 25, that's when I would start going, oh, what's going on?
Yeah, about 25% would be unreasonable. And it would require us to do a lot of digging and research to find out what the issues are. I know that, you know, some of the no-shows may be, you know, with us having our driver shortage and passengers needed to get to where they need to go. They may just opt to take another ride if they have an option, you know, and of course that would create a no-show. If they, you know, need to get somewhere quicker than Transaid can't actually get there, then that may be some of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. So no other questions. We will go on to, we have our financial report, and then we will go ahead to Miss Tina and let her talk through our marketing report.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Before I go into the update about the hiring campaign, I wanted to share a couple of things with you. It's been, I think, over 2 years, yeah, or close to 2 years, certainly not in 2020 at all. And the first time in 2021 that I was asked to come and do a presentation for a school group. So I went to the Redeemer School over on Miller Street a couple of days ago and had the pleasure of doing a Paratransit presentation for a group of 8th grade students who will come downtown next Tuesday. So they're actually going to try transit next Tuesday, come down, come to the TC, and then they're going to go to the public library with hopes of in the future possibly incorporating this process and what they plan to do to get their students out of the building and down here to the library. So that was really great. I enjoyed that. And coming up will be a presentation for the Winston-Salem BIC pipeline, which is building integrated communities. The difference in the presentation that I will be doing for them is, number one, it is virtual. And number two, instead of them having individuals online or in a room, of course, to learn about the various services offered through City of Winston-Salem, as well as educational institutions and any health agencies, we're going to be doing presentations directly for the agencies themselves who serve those clients. So that will be on November 17th, and we're looking forward to participating in that. Okay, so the digital advertising campaign that we talked about last month turned out to be pretty good, as well as the signage that we put up in the buses and here at the transportation center, because it resulted, as you can see from the information on the board update, in a 20% increase from August to September in applications. So that was really fantastic. We had 132 applicants from September into October. And then for Paratransit, we had 69 applicants, which is an increase from August into September. So that turned out fairly well. As far as referrals are concerned, you know, we did have some employees who participated with that, but we have a group of new employees right now. And from that new group, we had someone who was referred by a current employee. And so the 5 referrals that we got were for 3 fixed route operators, a paratransit operator, and an employee in John's department. So we feel like it's really starting to work quite a bit. Donna shared with us information from a video, a webinar. And when we saw the webinar, it hit on points that we are really doing some of the things that are on the list of what transit systems need to do to hire. And so that's turned out pretty well. One of the things that you will see if you're going to be traveling through Winston-Salem, we're going to be putting some bus ads on the outside of our buses, and the ads will feature some of our employees. Carol will be featured on one, as a matter of fact, but we're going to have current employees who will be featured on those ads, asking people if they want to join our team. And so we're also going to have some ads on the inside of the buses, encouraging people to join our team and letting them know what kind of people we are actually looking for to come to WSTA and be a part of our work family. Also, we're really appreciative for the efforts of the City of Winston-Salem's marketing department. They put 2 commercials together. I had the pleasure of riding on the bus with some of their staff as they were taking the video, and then they took the video and turned it into some great commercials. And so we're going to utilize those commercials. We're going to put them up on our website, and we're also going to put them on our social media platforms. So Facebook, as well as our Twitter account, you'll be able to find those, and they will certainly be on our website as well. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. Oh, well, Carol covered all of the information that I would discuss in the ridership for 2021 for September in terms of the number of riders that we have. But if you have any questions about that, I'll be more than happy to answer them as well.
Tina, can you go back to the slide before about the referral bonus program?
Sure.
There, so the referral bonus and the sign-on bonus.
They're two different things. The referral bonus is the employee referral bonus program that Donna implemented. So our employees, when they refer someone and if they're hired and they work, I think for 6 months with us, our employees will get a $300 bonus for referring that person. Now the sign-on bonus, which is $1,000 new hire bonus, if someone comes to work with us after the first 6 months, if they worked 120 hours per month for each month, then they get the first $500. And then if they do the same for the next 6 months, they'll get the remaining portion of that signing bonus, which is a total after a year of $1,000.
Okay. So to date, we've given out 13 total.
No, to date, we have 13 employees who are, I guess, I don't want to say in line for, but who are scheduled to receive the bonus.
Very nice.
And the bonus structure, you know, so many different agencies and various vendors are utilizing the bonus program to attract applicants and new hires. You'll see a range of bonuses. I think I've seen some all the way up to $3,500. But there's a program attached to it. So what we want to encourage is people to come on board, but we want to encourage them to spend some time with us as well. So that's the way why it's structured after a period of time, because we definitely we would not want to attract anyone that's interested in coming in, getting $1,000, working a week, and then they're gone. So that's the methodology behind how it's structured out over a period of time. So hopefully we'll see some benefit of it. And once we get some additional funding, we may see some increases, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, so to speak. But we're going to do everything we need to. We definitely appreciate the City of Winston-Salem's marketing department and Tina doing everything that they can. We're just trying to think outside of the box and find ways to attract people to come to Winston and join our team so that we can continue to provide the service for Winston-Salem citizens, as well as add back the service that we temporarily suspended. Because that's never a result, because as Carol said, it has not heavily impacted us. However, it has impacted some of our passengers to get to where they need to go. And those needs they need to be addressed. And so we want to get that service back on the street as soon as possible.
Thank you. Questions or comments, fellow board members? Well, if there's no further questions or comments, Ms. Woodson, if I'm not mistaken, this should bring us to the conclusion of today's board meeting.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we talked about the November and December. Before we conclude and adjourn, anything you'd like to ask, comment about to fellow board members? Okay. No comment.
Thank you. As from myself and my WSTA team, I don't know if we will meet in November or not, depending on whether or not we need to meet for any type of business related to resolutions, etc. However, if we don't have the opportunity to say this openly before, we hope that you all enjoy your Thanksgiving holiday and your Christmas holiday. I'm sure that we will be in contact in some format, even if it's by via email. But we want to thank you for a successful year, given our current conditions. You know, we still have weathered through the storm, and we're still going through, and we appreciate the WSTA Board of Directors for your leadership and your guidance and your support for the WSTA team. So again, on behalf of the WSTA staff, we thank you.
Well, Ms. Woodson, thank you very much. And fellow board members, I mentioned to Miss Woodson earlier today that I check on her from time to time to check her blood pressure because she's had quite the experience since coming on as our leader for the Transit Authority, be it all the route changes, depletions, staffing. Oh yeah, that pandemic. Yeah, so I don't know if it helped her. I tried to see the glass half full there for her and said, since you pulled through this, you'll be able to pull us through anything in the future. So we certainly ask fellow board members to please join me in a little applause for Miss Woodson and her leadership. And she couldn't do it alone. She got an unbelievable team that she inherited. So thank you very much.
Thank God for my staff.
Thank you very
Amen
much.
to that.
Thank you.
Thank you and have a good
Yes,
evening.
thank you. And the entire staff.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you for your participation. Thank you for your attendance today. I'd like to thank the staff, fellow board members, of course, all the wonderful people of the city of Winston-Salem. That's right, Tanae. You're part of that.
Garcia, if I will, before we do dismiss, could we have a birthday celebration on next Tuesday, November the 2nd. Our Director of Transportation, Ms. Tonique McCullough, will be celebrating her birthday. So we just want to wish her a happy birthday in advance.
Oh,
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
what kind of cake are we?
Thank you.
Okay.
Are you baking the cake?
Am I or is she gonna bake one? Yeah, okay. I don't think she wants to say, oh, celebrate them. Birthdays are great. You'll welcome them, trust me.
Thank
Honey,
you.
Have a wonderful, wonderful day, rest of your evening and your week. And as Ms. Woodson said, we will be in touch. It kind of drives me batty to even have to say, hey, happy holidays right now. And here we are in October still. So, but nonetheless, have a safe one. Thank you for all that you do. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.